The UFC Paramount era is here, and it's going to start off with UFC 324. I'm going to break down this card, and I'll start with the earliest prelim of Adam Fugit versus Ty Miller. I'm going with Ty Miller for no particular reason. Moving on, Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. I'm going to go with Josh Hockett. I believe he's a former NFL player, if I'm correct. And he's a very American guy, I'm pretty sure. If I have this right, he was cutting pretty good promos in his last fight. But if it's not him, whatever. I'm still going to go with Josh Hockett, just cause. Then, to the regular prelims, Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. This is interesting, because Charles Johnson has beat Joshua Van. He's beat some good competition, but he's also lost to some good competition. I'll go with Charles Johnson. Brought his kid to the weigh-ins, looked pretty wholesome. I'm going to go with Charles Johnson. Next up, Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. This is kind of tough. Modestas Bukauskas knocking out Paul Craig, not saying much. Beat Cutelaba in a split decision. Lost to Fritor Petrino and beat some other nobodies. I'll go with Modestas Bukauskas. Nikita Krylov just looks super chinny. I don't like his entries. Last time I saw him fight against, I believe it's Dominic Reyes. He's been chinned like twice and he also got chinned by Bogdan Guskov. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Modestas Bukauskas just because Nikita Krylov is on a pretty bad downward slide. Next up, Ateba Gutierrez versus Andrei Pulyaev. I'm going with Ateba Gutierrez for obvious reasons. Yeah, not much to say about it. Everyone's building this up as a slaughter fest, so that's what I'm going with. And to the final prelim, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm going with Umar. Deiveson missed weight by like 3 pounds. And in his last bunch of fights, he's looked bad. He hasn't looked like the same Deiveson flyweight champion Figueiredo that we know. Got beat by Jan. Got beat by Sandhagen. Took a bad injury against Sandhagen. And it's not looking good for him. B. Montel Jackson. No matter. Went to split decision with him. Umar is right below championship level of Merab and Jan, and he might make improvements to get to that level, so I think he's definitely beating Figueiredo here. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. I'm going to go with Gene Silva. The way that I see Arnold Allen fighting with his sort of hunched over swaying style, I don't know if that's going to complement the fight against Gene Silva, man. Gene Silva has a insane offense and tool bag that he can use. Besides the Diego Lopez fight, he styles on a lot of his opponents. There's times where he faced adversity against Drew Dober even. But so here's the thing, Gene Silva could have lost a lot of confidence in the Diego Lopez fight, and that's going to work against him for Arnold Allen, and Arnold Allen could really put it on Gene Silva, but some have said it before, I just think Arnold Allen is just a little too chinny for this fight. I just think Gene Silva is going to show off a tremendous offense and tool bag that he can use with amazing explosivity and pop in his shots. And I think he's going to take it. So yeah, gonna go with Gene Silva. And he's going to make his way near the top 5 and be a pretty good contender in my opinion. And next up, don't care about this fight. And next up, we have Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. I'm going to go with Waldo Cortez Acosta. This could be a situation where Derek Lewis just knocks out a heavyweight that isn't at the top of the division. But I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is just a notch above Derek Lewis at this point in their careers. Waldo Cortez Acosta took like 4 fights last year, and he's been on a terrific surge in his career. He has really good hand speed. He has really good slick boxing for heavyweights and a little bit light for being a heavyweight. And that's something that separates you from basically the entire division, is if you're a little bit faster and if you have good hand speed, slick boxing, that gets you very far in the modern day UFC heavyweight division. But of course, there is that, just if you're a little bit worse than like top 5 level, Derek Lewis is probably going to knock you out. But I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is that little bit above. Big Dominican shit. I think he's gonna get Derek Lewis, man. I think he might finish him. Derek Lewis has shown moments of just quitting, and I think that's gonna happen. But we'll see. I hope it's a fun one. And to the co-main event, Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I am going to go with Song Yadong. And the weigh-ins, he looked a little bit thicker, a little bit more muscular. Obviously, he's going to be like that with the height difference. But when they faced off at the weigh-ins, I didn't see that big of a height difference. Obviously, Sean will have the advantage, and he will have the reach advantage as well. But I look at the Corey Sandhagen fight with Song Yadong, and I see moments where he does catch great timing on Corey Sandhagen, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. I think he's going to be able to catch good timing on Sean in a lot of his entries, or when Sean's going in as well. There is the Peter Yan fight where Sean did very well, and Song Yadong has a very similar style to Peter Yan. But I think Song Yadong is just going to output a lot of damage on Sean O'Malley. I think we're going to surprisingly see Sean O'Malley start to fatigue a little bit in the 3rd round, perhaps. And I think we're going to see Song Yadong win a decision or a late TKO. And I think we might see Sean O'Malley fall off. But obviously, Sean O'Malley has spectacular striking. He could very well catch Song on a counter, just slip, boom, knockout. That could 100% happen, and he could prove me wrong in a lot of this. But I think Song Yadong has been waiting for this fight. He has called him out a while ago, and I think he has been preparing for this, and he prepared for Corey Sandhagen as well, who has a similar style. And I think Song Yadong is going to prove a lot of people wrong, and he's going to get to the top of the division. To the main event, Justin, the Highlight Gaethje versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I'm going to go with Paddy. Justin just seems like he's a little bit too late in his career to get Paddy. When Rafael Fiziev is able to trip you up like 3-4 times in your fight. I think Paddy's going to be a lot quicker to capitalize on positions where he can take you down and latch up a submission. We've seen Gaethje submitted Khabib, Oliveira. Paddy is a great submission artist. He is very, very fast in his transitions and very smooth and fluid. I think that's going to be the difference maker. I don't see Paddy continuously brawling with him, even though he has a tendency to do that. But Paddy has an amazing chin. Got tagged flush by Luigi Vendramin in his debut. Ate that shit. Got tagged by Chandler a bunch of times. Ate that shit. There's times where his cardio does look suspect against like Tony Ferguson, where he slowed down a lot. And other suspect fights like the Jared Gordon fight. But I think Paddy has a great style for Justin Gaethje. And Justin Gaethje always dips his head and very low when he's going through exchanges. And he's not positioned well for takedown defense, even though people talk about his takedown defense as being so good. I just don't know if that's going to be the case in this fight. I think Paddy is going to take it. That's my predictions for UFC 324. The start of the Paramount era. I do want to mention Cameron Smotherman took like a face plant at the weigh-ins from missing weight. Not, he made weight, but the weight drain was like, and the weight cut was so terrible to him. On his walk away from the scale, he collapsed. I just thought that was something to mention. His fight was canceled, and so was Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez because of some suspicious betting odds. Some people think that it might have been rigged for Michael Johnson to knock out Alexander Hernandez. I would have picked Michael Johnson regardless, because the Unk has some good speed and probably would have knocked him out. But I think that would have solidified it, and I think there was some shady bets going on. Therefore, the fight was canceled. So I don't know if it's the best start to the Paramount era, but hopefully this card will make up for it. We'll see.